That is a song from my heart to all of it. My heart to us, to the we. So this is Papa Pan and Mama Tink. Hi
all.
Andras Mayana. And I started talking because only because I have an idea that we really need to clarify what it is with this group that we're really, it's an amazing process for us elders to share our wisdom that we've gained over however many decades that we were experiencing life with different consciousnesses, levels and stages and shapes. And it cannot but provide us with some wisdom to share. And so that we can actually gain more wisdom from each other's experience and perception and gift of that comes from their creative, essential being, reaching it, intentionally going in for this little light of mine, going in there and really seeing your inner core of who you really are. And then all of that with the experience and blah, 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 with that clarity of vision, of discernment through wisdom, we'll know what to share and where to go from here, so that we're not just stuck wherever we are. Anyway, so I want to point this up. I'd like to share Mayana's mind meeting, but we will do this after this video for those of you who want to go that time. But right now, us coming together created this nonprofit, as it is, that was a global nonprofit called what was the Flowers of Hope. Can you imagine? And it was mothers, single mothers, and taking care of their children
from Nicaragua.
Yeah,
it was to support. It was a fair trade organization to support these single mothers in Nicaragua, and they were so successful that the mothers formed their own for-profit and got to earn money and be, supported by their artwork and their weavings and their whatevers. So it was completed. And when we went to a lawyer about forming a nonprofit, when we met in 2012, we went in 2013 to the lawyer, and he's like, well, I've got this nonprofit here that just needs new leaders and new vision and new programs. And I'm like, okay. And we adopted Flowers of Hope. And in the adoption process, we changed the name to Peace Production. And now we've adopted the Global Grandmothers Council Network and birthed the Heartists group for the men and other individuals. I don't know if it's going to be only men. That's for all you guys to decide. To support the grandmothers.
But some of this information is kind of interestingly pertinent because the name Heartists, some of you may already know that we took our second Heartist journey to Europe that took us to Glastonbury, England. and then to Budapest, Hungary, where I celebrated my 80th birthday next to the Danube. But it was also a spiritual connection with Mother Earth and the essence of not only air, but of course water, the Mother Earth's blood. So anyway, so that's we had and just before we left, Mayana, well, you tell that part. You got connected to them.
Well, Michelle Margaret Juliet in Australia found a YouTube of me talking about our Heartists journey and the global medicine wheels we were doing. She was awakened in the middle of the night by spirit and said, go to YouTube. And she did. And she found this video of me talking with my friend Allie Bierman about our journey that was coming up. This was mid-May. We were leaving in a week. And I get a phone call or a Facebook Messenger call at 11 at night, I think it was. And, you know, I wouldn't normally take a messenger call from somebody I don't know, but my inner prompting said, take it. So I did. And we talked for about 45 minutes, and she introduced me to the Global Grandmothers Council Network and stepped in to support us energetically on our journey. And she befriended me and spoke with me several times through Messenger along the way of our journey, and was just really a great, heartful support for me. And so at that time, the group had about 9,000 members. It had grown from 1,200 in February to 9,000 in June of this year. And by the time I got back from when we came from Europe, we got back in like the second week of June. And she introduced me to Suzanne Lewis, who is one of the founders. Suzanne Lewis and Sharon Raji Maynard, with guidance from Brook Medicine Wheel, founded this group in 2019, the Global Grandmothers Council Network Facebook group. So I was invited by Grandmother Suzanne to offer our nonprofit status and bring my administrative skills. And I am volunteering my time, probably 10 or 12 hours a day, 7 days a week right now. Wouldn't you say about that? It's a lot. It's a lot.
You know, just to make sure that this is, and the membership at that time was, what was the membership before our journey?
Before our journey, it was 9,000.
9,000 before our journey, and a month later,
it was 25,000.
And that's when Mayana started getting involved, and then and now it's 55, in the 55. So this is a group of grandmothers globally, and I don't know how many different countries. Do you know the exact number?
Countries we've identified so far.
So 48 countries.
We haven't looked in the last 2 weeks. There may be more now, but we've had other things on our plates.
So it occurred to us that this is a perfect opportunity to share the knowledge that we just shared on our journey, the Heartists journey. And what that simply means is balancing your masculine, well, of course, even in your brain, balancing your masculine,
mind, body, spirit, soul.
Yeah.
All dimensions.
But the big one is the heart. In other words, connecting with the heart. And so from then on, your commitment to yourself and to the all is that because we're all one and we're all in there, that we commit to coming from our hearts. Every action, any expression, whether it's artistic or this, it doesn't matter. It's the expression where it comes from, that's what counts. So that's the hardest. Now, how to do that is a process that I call heartistry. And
we each have our own path of heartistry too.
Yeah. And it's like anything else. It's just that it's the art of being in your heart, the art of the heart. And interestingly enough, in Hungarian, we use the heart for very often. You know, when you ask somebody for help and you say thank you, the answer is, after köszönöm is in Hungarian, thank you, and the answer is szívesen, and szívesen means from the heart, in a heart way. And nobody really probably thinks about it because it's just common. It's like saying you're welcome, except you're expressing your heart. And that's important because um, our group that peeled off of the grandmothers, this whole process has been interesting. I became a member because I looked at it not as grandmothers, but as elders who were balanced beings. So this balance, these are grandmothers who've had it by now. They're able to various different degrees balance their masculine and feminine because they had to take many roles, probably taking care of the income, doing the, being that or caretaker always. And so that's the balance. That's the balance is to be able to be the the good part of masculinity, if you want to say that, is about commitment to your word and follow it through with right action. So that's simply that part of the masculine energy is now actually being balanced uh, by all. And so this is the process.
And it's been, in the world, we all know what the state of the world has been and what women have suffered in this world. And with 55,000 members, there were enough women who didn't feel safe with men's presence in the group as they are still healing from their trauma. And there has been lots of trauma. It's real. And we honored the majority's call to have a space for the healing before we have a space for the blending. So Andras created the Heartists page group for the men who are in support of the grandmothers and recognize and honor that they need some time to themselves to heal. And women have always had those spaces throughout history. Women have gathered together when they need to. And usually it was monthly, and it wasn't just the women on their periods. It was all the women, because actually before electricity, all women had their period with the moon. So whoever you're with, you all have it together and you all go to the red tent together. So that's a little education thing about that part of women. So we're in that space right now where we are
in Everland. That's where we are. Because this is, I spilled the beans in the beginning, Mama Tink and Papa Pan. We're creating
the road to Everland.
Yeah, we're creating this it's not mystical, allegory. It's what would you call it? Mythological story called Heartists in the Kingdom of Everland. Kingdom signifies instead of kingdom, signifies the feminine energetic, I wouldn't say control, but giving out the to maintain integrity and high values with love from the feminine part. And that's how I see that.
Yeah, and for myself, I'm one of the babies in the group. I'm turning 66 this week, but I am serving elders here. I'm not a grandmother in physical form. I am a mother, but it's not about if you have birthed or your children have birthed children. It's not about that. It's about the wisdom we carry through our years of experience, whatever our individual experiences are. When we share them together, the stories are rich and full, and everybody can relate to everybody else because we're really all one, and we've all been through these same experiences and these same patterns in different circumstances. So So we're weaving our way through the voices of wisdom coming together, and the website that we are building.
We were talking about a state of where we are, and I was finishing the story about the Clipchamp of Heartists in Everland, right? So Clipchamp is recognizing that it's time for the matriarchal wisdom keepers to guide us, guide humanity in its next phase. Even on the political, we're seeing that, and we're going to be having our first woman president. She's also Black. Wow, this is a historical moment, and it's a historical moment that affects all of humanity because it is a global, it has global effects because of the status of our USA. US of A. So so all of this is really powerful, and interestingly enough, so the Heartists group, I started out with inviting members from we have an email group of my graduating high school class. I do have an email group from my graduating college class. And so I started out with the men that I know, and invited up. And not everybody is ready at this point. From what I introduced about the Kingdom of Heartists in Everland, but it's about recognizing the fact that to be at peace and to be at one with all of it, with all of what is going on, we have to have at least the critical mass of humanity to totally live heartfully, from the heart, for the good of all. So
electrically, we need both the masculine principle and the feminine principle to be doing that. And for that to happen, what's expressing is that the grandmothers have to come first. They've been last for so long, and they're the most vulnerable in our society. How many grandmothers do you know that are homeless? How many grandmothers are just barely surviving? So our whole purpose is to create this culture and through this website of local councils on the ground in communities that take care of our grandmothers, first and foremost. Now, by saying that, I'm not denying that there are also homeless grandfathers and grandfathers who are barely surviving, and men who have not had children who are in those states. Yes. Once we get the website built for the grandmothers, we can launch one for the men, for the Heartists. But this is the first step, because once the website is completely built and launched, it's easy to clone. But this is the process that has to happen.
And it's coming out of the Facebook groups, because at this point, the Global Grandmothers Council is a Facebook group. And so that's where we're starting the men's, but we will also peel out. So this is the organizational thing that quickly I'd like you to share, because I'm taking this opportunity for the men to who can step forward and offer their expertise in the various different areas. This involves media, this involves computer savvy. So, at our age, but we have some specialists, we have some who have reached 80 who have been involved. So those of you who have attendance, or the younger ones or whatever, I mean, I'm just like the women. This isn't necessarily this is those of us who are wanting to or seeing at any age, when you come to that knowledge, that you're ready for to share, both coming in and going out, wisdom of our experiences from the men's point of view. And so that's how I see it. I see it starting at an elder group like the elders of Native Americans, because part of this process to be in a heart is a very ancient reality, because the connections back there, when there weren't so many billions of people, the indigenous groups in this earth, which seemed enormous to them, they didn't even know all of it, but now we do. And to see that, and to see the wonderful connection, the web of connection that was started a long time ago, but now it's able to be shared at once through the Zoom process, through whatever process that this new age of technology, and technology with consciousness. That's a whole other story of the AI. Hopefully it's intelligent, not artificial, but authentic intelligence is what we need within us. For all genders and all classifications, we're all unique, and all we have to do is recognize that. Peace.
So I want to share before we go about the organizational structure you asked me to share about.
Oh. I don't really know that. No, I do know about that, but yeah. So
when Peace Production adopted the Global Grandmothers Council Network, several of us had the same vision of lights sparking up all over the world at the same time. And Suzanne Lewis and I, when we talked, we both have had that same vision of light centers all over the world and then networking them together. That was the whole purpose in the Facebook group originally forming, was the networking of local grandmother councils. So my task that I accepted and designed, I guess, for this was to start forming the organizational structure where we could have a website and this was not just my vision, this was many of us had this same vision of a website for the grandmothers starting that had a marketplace where they could sell their goods, an academy where they could teach and share their wisdom, social media streams where everybody could share, local councils that would be networked in a global way. So anytime someone wants to come and learn, there is wisdom for them. So it's a membership website we're building. Our website guru, One Divine, has been working on this for 10 years with guidance from the grandmothers. And she said they've been very clear. We need this, 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 and this. And when we met with One Divine, that was our criteria. It needed to meet this, 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 and this. And we matched perfectly. And we are now trying to raise the funds for her to launch this. Now, I've put websites together before for organizations that can run $30,000, $50,000 for a big website. And this is going to be a big two-way website that needs to be secure and safe and built well. So it's only going to cost like $8,000. That's so little. And we've raised 3,200, 3,300 maybe. We need support. So I'm going to just show here. I need to pull something up and then I'll share it on my screen so you can see it. Let's get this, and give me just a second here. And this, okay. So this. I'm just getting my screen ready so you can see it, see both of these images together. No, that's not working.
You can't move it?
Well, sorry. Okay. One of them is working with me and the other one is not. But we'll get it. Okay, there we go. Okay, now I'm going to share my screen, which I haven't done yet because I wanted to get it ready before I did. There we go. Okay, so we have a GoFundMe for the website, and that's the one up here, on the left. It's Voices of Wisdom. So there you can just donate whatever you have. If it's $1 or $100 or $1,000, we welcome the donations. And it can go bigger, but yeah. Or you can buy T-shirts. And at the bonfire fundraiser, there's a storefront, Heartists for Peace, and there are Global Grandmother T-shirts and other T-shirts, and everything in the store is going to support the Global Grandmothers Council Network. So,
as you can see, there is limitless opportunity that we can create awareness of this intention of living in your heart. And whatever you do, whether it's in an art form or something practical, something useful, some daily, that you can offer. And it's like a marketplace as well. But really, the intention of the marketing of our connection, of our oneness, that is at the bottom of it all. So
and to provide a way for grandmothers.
Can we be ourselves now?
Yeah.
And they can come back to that.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So
and the website will provide for grandmothers to put their own artwork or crafts or medicines or whatever it is that they create from their being. They'll be able to sell it in the marketplace, and that gives them income and support.
So don't forget this big picture applies to all the different grandmothers in different countries and even different regions. So this is being,
and we're going to have on the ground events and online events, and there's going to be opportunities once this website's built for the Heartists and the grandmothers to do things together in person, in public. We're going to do a cruise. We're going to do events all over the world where grandmothers and elders share their wisdom. So the vision's big.
Getting back to the idea of the Everland. So, it comes from flip side of Neverland, where you can never get to. That's why we're using Everland, but also the connection of Disneyland. Because on the physical level, we're locally here working towards an idea of creating the first Everland, which is not for rides, at least not physical rides, maybe emotional or spiritual rides, by having different tents or yurts or something in an area that is here locally where we're doing it, thinking of doing it, is on a highway that's opening up to 4 lanes, taking people into the Blue Ridge Mountains, the Appalachian Mountain Range. And the people that are there are so interesting. So there's a lot of through
It's a
traffic.
new artery being formed.
Yeah. And so so it makes for an opportunity to invite people to this idea that are just passing through.
Mhm.
And but I see this
Well,
as
this
becoming like Disneyland was, being, of course, Disneyland is basically only in one place.
well, they have several of them.
Yeah, they have
A bunch of them.
but the original Disneyland started in Florida, right? So
This is about the local councils, what we're calling councils, these local groups forming. We're talking about how we want to form our local one here.
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
That will be networked with all the others.
Yes.
Yeah.
So anyway, for those of you who can see the enormity of the potential and opportunity, please reply. I'm going to put this. We're putting this Zoom on our Facebook and transferring it, and we'll introduce it. But anyway, so
Peace.
peace in, not peace
in.
out.
Globalgrandmotherscouncil.org.
Yeah.
Globalgrandmotherscouncil.org.
And Heartists
.us.
.us.
But we don't have the group on that page yet, but we have the website. So
we have a website, Heartists.us. But for this, please respond, because I'd love to hear everybody's reaction. And then our next video will be about how we cosmically came together. That's a whole personal story.